Those are rolling stone. We laid his head and was his home. When he died, no one comes along. Those are rolling stone. Wherever he laid his head and was his home. When he died, no one comes along. Strongest thing, my best love today. If I don't get some shelter, I'm gonna fade away. 'Cause oh, children, it's just a shadow away. It's just a shadow away. Oh, children, it's just a shadow away. It's just a shadow away. Coming in at number 5, Papa Was a Rolling Stone by Dean Ryan and the Temptations, or whoever is left in that group. Welcome everybody to Real Deal Media Live. A little testing here tonight. But my stripper pole here, as I am still Dean Ryan, who is holding on loosely, but not letting go, but running on empty fumes, that is. Tonight we're going to be doing a little recourse on some of the headlines that I have missed this week and some of the ones coming in now. If you're wondering what in the world happened to me, that's a good question. I wonder that roughly every 15 minutes. But if in case you missed it, StreamYard, which is one of the most popular platforms used by thousands of people, especially in the median of information gathering, I guess you could say, and sharing, has jacked up their price all the way up to 125%. And you've seen just a Armageddon of people leaving the platform. But leaving the platform for what? Going where exactly? that is what this expedition, yours truly, has been on. It is not easy, and we are 2 weeks away from the election. So, yours truly, and me personally, I'm just going to eat the cost because I'm going full throttle ahead with all of you. We've come such a long way, and for me to stop now, just because it's going to cost me 2 lattes and a venti, that's just not good enough. This is where we started. We're going to finish off strong, even though the people that bought StreamYard are the same people who bought WeTransfer and some other things. They're jacking up everything, firing everybody, because this form of censorship is not just words. It's not just phrases. It's not just misinformation. This form of censorship is going after the infrastructure, the web hosting. And this is what they do to take it over. They take over American systems, companies, to then silence of what's coming here, what's coming in the next 2 weeks. We're going to get into that here tonight. We're going to talk about what do we see as Shocktober is dwindling to a very shocking end. Many people say it was an asteroid that's coming. Many people have said it's going to be World War III. Well, many people have said a lot of things in the course of these 4 years, and we're certainly privy to all of those, but we're going to talk about some of those things that we can expect to come down the pipeline. Because the political tension in this country is very thick and it's very sensitive, but there is a particular core, a criminal class of people who are throwing the kitchen sink, even their grandmother attached to it, at all of us. Is certain people are on the run while we're on the march. Certainly is the case. Anyways, we're broadcasting live now on Facebook, the YouTubes over there, DNR TV, the Ghettos. Hello, everybody, and the wonderful, ever so pleasant Rumble. Yes, we are. We are broadcasting here tonight, as we are now going to get into some headlines from around the world and in your neck of the woods. I think. Okay, we're just going to do a little. We'll get back to World at War very soon in regular scheduled shows, but we got to start small before we can crawl again. As I am back for now. I'm expecting a lot of changes coming as the censorship grip is going to get tighter and tighter and tighter. Let me tell you about some things happening around the country and the world all simultaneously now, as this is very interesting now, because James Carville, the man who is definitely a no stranger of bootlicking the Clintons, is now calling openly for not just an insurrection, but a civil war. Now, you might have heard that they keep promoting, well, we're going to be in boxcars. The military is going to come in and get us. Do you see how the previewing, projecting what they're doing? But now it's in the lexicon of everybody. So this big roundup isn't just pertaining to a so-called right side of the spectrum. Now everybody knows what's at stake. The Democrats set the chess board, and the others just smash it every time. Here we go. So here's James Carville. He's talking about 3 regions. He's, quote, I'm certain Kamala Harris will win. And I now have a feeling they're going to take it, and I'll tell you why. Continuing. Well, here's what they're saying, that he's now saying Trump is a repeat loser. He will lose, and she'll take it just fair and square. No, I don't think so. But please keep going. We're saying he will lose. And if you don't know who James Carville is, a legendary Clinton strategist for the DNC, carries the water for them every time, if you don't know. Well, he's saying that they're going to lose a landslide they lost a landslide in the midterm elections, and they're going to lose again. And he will be a lame duck president, or will he? Interesting. Then he says, money matters. Miss Harris has it in droves. And yes, the highest billionaire class in the United States has all put their money behind Kamala Harris. That is interesting. That should tell you. Even Miss Lindsey Graham is saying Republicans are getting creamed in fundraising. Interesting. And finally, he said, well, it's just a feeling that his emotions are telling him there's no way Trump can win. Well, we're just going by feelings now. That seemed to be the case. We're just going by feelings. Well, in addition to this, you have this top Democrat is now calling for an armed uprising if Trump wins election. That's right. It's amazing how he's just calling for it. But if it was the other side, we know the kind of response. Let me try to play this for you. This is the human skeleton of death himself calling for an armed uprising now. These people don't mess around. An armed uprising if Kamala Harris wins. Check this out. Well, what you would have seen, can you tell? It's just that day. Here it is. Civil War alert. Here's Roger. No. Roger is right on. Roger is spot on to what he just said. So let's just review that, what we just were witness to watch there. You got James Carville literally saying the next 2 weeks for people to rise up, take up arms. What people is he talking to? Who is he talking to? Is he talking to me? Is he talking to you? Is he talking to the average Bernie Sanders supporter? Is he talking to Trump supporters? No, he's talking to the millions of people that came through the red carpet through Mexico. That's who he's talking to. He's talking to his hombres the Clintons have hired over the course of decades to just take out and assassinate their foes, their adversaries. That's who he's talking to. Now he wants a war. Now they're trying to make Trump once again look like Hitler because it just takes one lunatic who has just enough MK Ultra just level points to follow through on the cryptic messages they're putting through the PMSNBC CIA hotlines out there. Call me crazy, but crazy as a fox, as I see it. Continuing before I just get just more monkeypox I get when I look at Carville. Well, this is just now, you might have heard this now. All of these just women who said Donald Trump touched me in 1981 on the kneecap. Oh, Donald Trump gave me a hug in 1992. It was a little longer than 5 seconds. All those people come out because this is the season. This is the season that they're flocking to the center stage here. Now, get this now. Donald Trump, quote, Donald Trump groped me in what felt like a twisted game with Jeffrey Epstein, former model, alleges. Well, about damn time. It only took, 3 elections later for this Stacey Williams is her name. Says the president says whose spokesperson denied the allegations touched her in an unwanted sexual way in 1993 after Epstein introduced them. Is this like a very bad rerun that people forgot to alert the programmers that we've seen it before? Let me just continue here before my hair continues to fall out live on TV. Well, former model says she met Donald Trump through the late sexual abuser, Jeffrey Epstein, has accused the former president of groping and sexually touching her in an incident in Trump Tower and all the way 1993. Can you believe it? And what she believed was a, quote, twisted game between the two men. Well, she's playing a real wicked game, if you ask me, because where was this bimbo and where was Gloria Allred with the past the last two elections? The desperation meter is breaking the glass at this point. Well, she worked as a professional model, so I mean, no traction. It doesn't matter how many times the Drudge Report plasters this on the front of the screen. No traction whatsoever. And in fact, it's not even working. But it just goes to show the amount of effort. Last minute now. Like, okay, we got hurricanes. We have disgruntled former models from the obscure early 90s. We have monsoons. We have, just military-aged men. What else do we need? How about E. coli? Well, that's exactly what we have now. You might have also heard, hopefully not tasted, that McDonald's is now regurgitating the fact that their E. coli breakout, according to the Center of Deception Controllers, is now linked to the Quarter Pounder. We're not sure if it's the one with or without cheese, but yes, it's true. Their shares in McDonald's have fell extendedly. Extremely. They've fallen more than the value of homes, which we're going to find out here in a minute. Well, the outbreak now has led to 10 hospitalizations, 1 death. The person who's familiar with the E. coli has now told us. Now the restaurant chain is now initially finding investigation. How did this happen? Did a migrant just went over to the burger maker and just popped a squat like they're doing in everybody's lakes across the world? Now the shares dropped as we share, telling you. Hospitalized people are just puking their brains out. 7% drop in shares. And nobody knows how this happened. Nobody knows why. But let me tell you something. I'm looking into this more and more. We're finding out that the mad cow disease that was in the UK didn't ever really go away. It's been just quieter and quieter, lower and lower. And the prions in this meat have given the early onslaught of Alzheimer's dementia into our societies for years now, on top of the miracle jabs and the chemtrail metals just breathing and falling on our salad greens. Do we see that? So, yeah. Soylent Green is made of mad cow. That's how we can label that. Now, here is something to know. Let me share this with you. There's a lot of focus in Iowa. And why I say that, the state of Iowa is, yes, it's very political. It's the middle of the country. It's the Iowa caucus, but also it's the highest cancer per capita in the United States. Did you know this? I got to tell you more about this because this is just coming down my way. So I received a little intel, little update here. I want to share this with you because it's so key now. In the run up to the election, Sorry about that. Sometimes you got to get a little crazy to get some crazy returns or just success back. But let me tell you about this now. We have received word in the run-up to this election that there is now something called the International League of Cities. Are you familiar with this? Yeah. And they have meetings now in all the little cities, especially Iowa, where FEMA just happened to be before the big Hurricane Beryl that displaced yours truly and many, many others and all the other hurricanes to follow. It seems to be that FEMA and friends, Department of Homeland Security and friends, FEMA and DHS are the same now, just seem to appear like the FBI and the ATF appear at high schools before school shootings, or just Johnny on the spot. Yeah. Notice how you don't hear the take the guns away narrative anymore from the latte liberals anymore, because they know, just like the Australians know, we have the right to defend ourselves because you have to carry a gun because you can't carry a cop. Well, let me tell you more about this. Now, interesting, the International League of Cities, I'm going to go to that, are now having meetings in places like Clay County and events at the city centers, which happens to be polling places for election day. Did I hear that right? Now, the Iowa Director of Homeland Security is also in attendance, and he's attending this one particularly that I'm talking about that's coming up on Halloween weekend. Well, I'll be a deep state just saboteur. That's how they're doing it. In addition to that, let me tell you this, because the fix is in. Then we're going to go dissect and give a proctology to exactly who is the International League of Cities. Well, I have also been told by our UK insider, the same team that just rigged the Labour Party's win for Prime Minister in the UK have been flown to the United States as of 5 days ago to help the Democrats win and steal the election. It's coming up in 2 weeks. In addition to what we told you and shared with you just over a week ago, that 3 ballot harvesting operations in Utah, Arizona, and I believe, don't quote me, I can't remember at the moment, but it was New Mexico, and they caught these people ballot harvesting already. Then you look at Detroit, 55,000 mail-in ballots come in. Only 4,000 are counted for, meaning they throw the Trump ones away. In Detroit, the most corrupt city right up there with Chicago. Detroit is so corrupt, it makes LA look like a good place to raise a family. That's how bad it is. So let me show you this now. Who's the International League? See, it's like International League of Nations, which became the UN. This is a globalist group, and I'm going to prove it to you. Here it is. Let's go hop and skip all the way to just the National League of the total nerds from the UN. And then you tell me if you're seeing the same thing I am. Is everything is slow motion on my end? Here it is. Well, there's the famous Amos lookalike, Mayor Boondoggle body double, but forget him for the minute. So the National League of Cities is an organization comprised of city, town, and village leaders that are focused on improving the quality of life for their current and yeah. We're nearly 100 years. Okay, see, look at all this just glorifying. Now, here's the big one here. The trust support of more than 27,000 cities across the United States. Look at that. 2,700 cities. And they advocate for what? Protect the interests of cities, towns, villages, influencing federal policy, strengthening local and driving. Okay, so this is the clear definition, everybody, of a non-governmental organization, NGOs. These are the people that are bringing in the invasion happening in this country. They're always disguising as like the city initiatives, just like DHS and FEMA. Well, it's the partnerships. It's like you have to be like we're in this luscious relationship with unknown shadowy people that are masquerading as locals. So these are the people who are going to help rig this, and they're going to rig it because the question or the answer of why. The answer is, what are we going to do about it? They got a monopoly on media. They got a monopoly on the police force. because the city cops will follow all directives from the mayors. Oh, wait, it gets better. It gets better. Let's look at this again. I can't help myself. Here it is. But wait, there's more. Valuing diversity, inclusion, and belonging. Yes, just what I needed. I was starting to cut my wrist open. Thank you. We are committed to a culture that values diversity, promotes inclusion, and belonging. Oh, good. I was so lost. We're focused on building more inclusive communities, meaning people that disagree with us, we're going to take you to the gulag, chop your head off. And see, you got to read between the lines here. And so members, distribution, I guarantee you, this is a UN initiative. These are little UN groups, and this is what they're bringing out to help facilitate the Great Reset. Unbelievable. So these are the people that are literally destroying our country right now. I may have to pay a visit. So that's how they're going to do it. So they're doing the ballot harvesting. They know they're losing. They have to blackmail Usher and Eminem to give their support behind the worst candidate in the history of the world. And they're going to steal it. They're going to take it. And that will destabilize the United States. Now, what does Russia and China have on Kamala Harris? Good question. Good question. What do they have on Kamala Harris? Well, this is worth noting. Before I tell you that, if anyone who has been watching since 2020, my original thesis was we are entering in a multipolar world order with China and Israel. Supremacy from both countries. China, big corporate communist state. Israel, big ethno state. They tied the religion to the government. So you go against the government, you're going against your own religion. Therefore, you get shadow banned out of society. That's the clear definition in layman's terms of ethno state. Here we are. Now look at this. Then I'm going to tell you what China and Russia have. It's no secret. You probably already know, but let's pretend you don't for a minute. Well, here it is. Multipolar world order, they're saying. Yes, they are. And this is all coming out now. Is now what Putin is just saying what everyone is doing here is he's now calling it a multipolar world order is now formed. There it is. At BRICS summit recently, an irreversible multipolar world order is being formed, said Wednesday. The process of forming a multipolar is underway, dynamic, irreversible process. India, China. Now, let me just add, this sounds scary. It sounds like he's evil, but no, this is a correction of the world that has been held hostage by the United States banking cartel dollar that's been politicized and then militarized. Don't go with the banking cartel, we kill you. So when you see stuff like that, don't be fooled by the tone and the rhetoric in it. This is a correction. Every leader has to look strong in front of their flock. Like when I took on the preacher guy and I said, he's full of malarkey, he had to look strong. He's a wee man, but he had to look strong in front of his flock because he's weak, pathetic. I could probably beat him up too, but that's what he's talking about. Let's go further. Continuing. The process of forming the multipolar world is on the way, the dynamic, irreversible process, including India, China, and the visual. Yeah. So it's all there. He's making the announcement. But see, there is interest to not obliterate the United States. Well, number one, we're doing a good job on that on our own. We're poisoning ourselves with what we eat. People are giving themselves miracle jabs. They're just listening to their doctors who listen to the American Medical Association, who are then being paid by adversaries to kill ourselves. It's in the best interest of Russia and China and India to keep this thing flowing called the United States because we're a great trading partner. But it's in their best interest to rid this government that is literally trying to bring us to nuclear war alongside Israel. Israel backstabbed China. They were supposed to have a red rail long train development project all the way back in 2014. China said, no, we're going to be doing our own. We're going to be our own Panama Canal. We don't need that. And Israel want to be number one. So here's we are. They're having proxy wars with Israel and vice versa via Iran and others. It's very clear to me what this is. It's very clear. And Trump is very well aware of this. And other countries have a right to fight for their own sovereignty, not be under the thumb of this banking cartel. Okay, so here's something else too. Now, this is very key too. You always know when the recession and the depression is about to happen according to the housing market. According to history, the big housing dip in 2008 and things prior always began in Las Vegas. But let's look at this right here now. It's coming out of the Wall Street Journal. Home sales are on the worst track since when, you might ask? 1995. September sales fell 3.5%. Sales hit their lowest point in 30 years just last year alone. Yeah, they're on the worst track. Elevated mortgage rates after sluggish. And you might have even heard of these where you don't sell your house, the bank buys your house, they allow you to live in it until you die, and then they own it. You're going to see more and more of those. More and more of those. Now in California, what they have allowed migrants to get home loans. No questions asked. There's a reason and purpose for it because everyone's not only leaving California, not only leaving New York, but they're dying. They're dying. They're dying of the miracle jabs, but they're not being considered death by miracle jabs. But I've seen the 75 pages and everything. It's all on there. So yeah, it's about this is supposed to be a buyer's market. As you can see, no, this is a seller's market right now, but we're entering a buyer's market in the new year. So you might know a lot of people trying to sell their homes immediately. Once Trump gets in or doesn't get in or whatever happens in 2 weeks, it is complete mayhem. I'm anticipating complete and utter mayhem. I'm expecting the power outage to finally strike a lot of places around the United States. It's already happening in Cuba. We're going to see home sales just plummet. And we're going to see a restart. We're going to see a restart here. You see it with McDonald's and so on and so on. Okay, here's another one here. Before we start taking inquiries and what have you, and breaks and lunches in 15 minutes, 30 minutes. Okay, here we go. So just to close off of the attack on the United States, which has been done by, in some regard, China, in some regard, Israel. There's a lot to go around. But the puberty blockers, now this is a huge ordeal here. I'm going to share this with you. Puberty blockers. In fact, you might have seen this. Europe is getting rid of all this subversion with gender, which is part of the 21 goals. The Illuminati was confuse the genders, have people go float into transhumanism. That's what transgender is. Then they managed to hook onto the LGBT experimente, which is a storefront for communism, for the Marxists, the cultural Marxists, for the rules for radicals. But this is something that just goes way beyond that. Not even Castro would do to his own people. Look at this here. U.S. study on puberty blockers goes unpublished because of politics, doctor says. This is written by News. What a great writer they are. Well, influential doctor, advocate, adolescent, and gender treatment said she had not published a long-awaited study on puberty blockers because of charged American political environment. Well, what a total wimp. What a total wimp. And I had to look at this too. They're only presenting things, by the way, they only present things that they know they're going to get grants for. So if you have a paper that says global warming is just a farce and a piece of dog excrement, you're not going to get a grant for that study. If you have a grant that says puberty blockers are not only child abuse, but also playing up to a globalist narrative to sink the West, eradicate the military age mindset of men in this country to soften the West. If you say that, you're not going to get a fundage from the eggheads at universities. Now this woman, when it's not so dangerous to come out, when the timid become a little bit more bravado, now they come out after all of us did heavy lifting. You see how that is? What a stupid. So this woman, and what they're finding is what we already knew, many of us, they're giving blockers to kids who then wind up growing up just a few years later, regretting everything, and it's too late. So you don't get a tattoo at 12 years old. You know, we've all been there. Look at me. I regret having a battleship tattoo on my chest, for example. You see? Anyways, that's how that was. We're going to take a quick break here. Real Deal Media Live. I'm getting back into the flow of things. We've got a proper show tomorrow night. This is just a reach out and say hello kind of ordeal. We're going to do some of your calls, questions, concerns when we get back. And a few more things happening as we are just taking it to the limit here with less than 2 weeks to go before the world changes. So you're going to see it right here in front row seats. I'm going all the way with you. So stand by. This is Real Deal Media Live. We'll be back after this quick break. Jim, you want to change your vote? You can still do it at this time.
No, I want to say we have a wonderful pizza place here called Sugar River Pizza, and they've got specialty pizzas that die for. I want to mention two in particular. One called Ricotta, be kidding me, red sauce, pepperoni, sausage, whipped herb, ricotta, and oregano, and kicking horse for a war. Red sauce, pepperoni, sausage, jalapenos, red onion, pepper jack. Those are two unbelievably good pizzas.
He called them suckers and losers. Who in the hell does he think he is? Who does he think he is?
Who does he think he is, Sean Gregorian? Who does that guy think he is?
Well,
who does Sean think he is?
maybe he was muted.
Oh, man. It's best to say he was muted. We have Lena Star Moon, who might know what the deal is. She said, that's a deep thought, Sean. It's so deep, we can't even measure it. How deep it is. Oh, Maddie Lynn, who says, baby Sean, yes, Sean is a baby. He needs to be pampered. And how's that diaper rash? Welcome back, everybody, to Real Deal Media Live here. Little special occasion here. I'm still Jim Ryan, who is cruising with you at midnight and just beyond here as we capture our regular time slot here at 10 p.m. Eastern every weeknight, essentially, with a lot of audibles here. Yeah, so much is changing. So much is changing so fast. We are brought to you tonight by the incredible genius of Real Deal Media members who make the sun go round. Become a visionary debonair. Go to realdealmedia.tv/membership. realdealmedia.tv/membership. And thank you to everybody who's contributed to helping keep these broadcasts going. Go to givesendgo.com. givesendgo.com/realdealgo. Yes, and I thank you for lifting us up the whole way here. So we are very appreciative. Okay, let's get back down to business here. Let's take a few inquiries. We have Liz Martin says, "Great to see you, Dean." Liz, it's great to see you. I think I see you. Good to see you. Very, very, very well. Tika Boom, who is usually on the money, and that has not changed tonight. She says they're probably calling the deaths natural causes. Yeah. You still go on Facebook or wherever you go on your feed. I mean, how many deaths do we read about every single day? Either people we know in real life, people we know who know people that just died or are sick, or people who are, celebutons of sorts, popular, well-known influencers. Yeah, dead. They never tell you why anymore. Larry King dead at 81. We don't know why. And then you read the comments. Oh, we'll be missed. Nobody says, well, why'd he die? Why'd he die? You know what I'm saying? Okay, here we have Jason Wright saying they will confiscate silver gold from the public at 75% of the actual value eventually. Well, they're going to try, Jason. Eventually, they're going to want our firstborns. They're going to want all the hot chicks, too, from society, and they're always going to try. And just like the Chinese tried and succeeded to buy just hundreds of thousands of acres in this country by military bases, they tried, and it wasn't that hard because people are so into themselves, they missed it. People are so into the federal elections, they missed what happens on the local, and that's how they're getting us. I mean, look what they have done with the international city partnerships from the UN just rolling by as an NGO masquerading as a local because they can. And it just comes back down to what are we going to do about it? And I'll tell you what, I went to the gun range just a few days ago, and I'll tell you what, I have a pretty good damn shot. And I'm pretty proud of myself for that because I am ready. I'm ready and willing and get out of my way too. Anyways, thank you very much for that. Yes, Egyptian princess. Dropping like houseflies. Absolutely. Patsy Rourke, I voted today. Good to find you. Why did farmers sell to the Chinese? I don't know, but I know the farmers stopped listening to rock and roll as well because they were tired of Hall & Oates. Just to let you know there, in case you were wondering. Let me go to Rumble here. Well, Amnesty, she's just a small town girl. She says it's a great small town. You can literally, a lot of people are going to small towns. The problem with small towns is uptown. They control a lot of the electrical feeds, a lot of the water temperaments that come into the small towns. So that is kind of the double-edged sword, but I can't blame people either way. I like both. I like small towns and I like uptown. Yeah. Yes, Michelle or Mitchell Duke says, need a rail. Yeah, tar and feathers. Yes, Mitchell. Thank you very much, Mitch. All right, here's a little interesting story I wanted to. This shows you how far we have come in just a little while. The worshiping of the golden calf since the days of Moses, who was lost in the desert for 40 some odd years, that hasn't changed. That hasn't changed. Did you know this goes into the weird news here, and we're going to go get some more inquiries, but this is a wild tale. They have Taylor Swift themed cruise lines now. If you're out there, this is how sick Americans are. If you're watching from abroad, we have cruise lines, cruise ships that are now tailored, no pun intended, to Taylor Swift. They said, hey, Mickey Mouse, get out of the way. It's Taylor Swift now all day long. What kind of soulless person goes on this cruise? You would never catch me dead on this cruise. Well, maybe I spoke too soon, as now a passenger has fallen over. Let's look at the... The passengers aboard Taylor Swift cruise line looking out at the water. Minding their own business, U.S. Coast Guard told local NBC affiliate that a 66-year-old woman fell off the Royal Caribbean Allure just days ago. One day after it departed from Miami with several hundred Swifties on board, fan-led cruise. The ship was roughly 17 miles north of island Nassau in the Bahamas when the woman fell over. A rescue mission was launched, but she still remains missing. Okay, the reason I read that too in that very just because this is what they're putting out. People fall over cruise ships. Virtually every cruise I've been on, you don't always hear about it. This one you hear about, but there's no body. You have a ship that was just docked. It's now this person's missing. And then there's the Disney Cruise Lines that are doing the same thing. So what's the true story behind that? We know the Swifties or the Taylor Swift is a deep state asset, whether she knows it, likes it or not, with her Ronald McDonald, Satanist friend, doing all the satanic gain symbols. It just doesn't work anymore the way it used to. All right, here's another one here. Speaking of just bizarros. Well, Roman Polanski, who is no stranger to the early days of Pizzagate from the 1970s, who has been living in exile out of the United States since the late 70s, who fled before he could face trial for sodomizing a 13-year-old. Well, Roman Polanski no longer going to trial in LA over alleged 1973 rape of minor. So this is the husband of Sharon Tate, who was filming a movie. This the director of not Sophie's Choice, but the Rosemary's Baby. Thank you. Something like that. Yeah. So now he no longer has to do it because, this is encouraged in LA now. So yeah, Roman Polanski no longer going to trial in LA of the underage girl. Lawyers on both sides reach a settlement finally, 40 years later. Well, Gloria Allred, who just never keeps her nose out of anything that will give her publicity or just victimhood, well, she was the lawyer for the plaintiff, confirmed that, quote, a settlement of claims was agreed to by both parties in their mutual satisfaction. God, that's just mutually disgusting. Yeah, he was charged with drugging, raping 13-year-old girl. He reached an agreement with prosecutors and pleaded guilty. So he fled. Like, he fled. And just like Tom Hanks fled, just like the head of the Kardashians are now fleeing, just like Diddy's fleeing, Leonardo DiCaprio is fleeing, Jennifer Lopez. I mean, these people are just, Tom Hanks did. They go to Greece. There's no extradition. And they're perfectly hunky-dory. Perfectly fine. They're fleeing. And this is the time when Oprah warned everybody, just in time. She really has, she's one for timing. She says, oh, by the end of October, well, you might be hearing things about Kamala Harris. And therefore, just don't believe it. They're going to be very salacious. Just give you a heads up. It's all coming out. Epstein Island, the whole nine is coming out. So here's Epstein Island, just in case you forgot. And here's the clientele from Nickelodeon that managed to go there that used the same logo. Isn't that just coincidental? So here's the island. There's the steeple. Now here's the people from Nickelodeon. So there you have it. And I've seen the photos come out from the still freak off sessions. I've seen it. I've seen it, the people in it, Jennifer Lopez. These are similar to videos and content that was offered to me years ago. I said, coming out of Hades, mind you, the worst, which is they don't want that to come out. And this is why Kamala Harris is avoiding people like, the Joe Rogans of the world, because it is disgusting. So just more evidence of what is to come. No surprise, no shockers here. We're dealing with a hardcore criminal class of people that are killing us. So many people are waking up to it. What say you out there before we go the way of a patriotic buffalo here? And a lot of people are saying too now. The real dangerous thing about the comparison to Hitler is because Hitler has been for many purposes, he's been demonized for 7 years. Heart movies, history, indoctrinated, that's all we know. Hitler's bad. We never knew why World War II happened the way it did. Nonetheless, but the fact that you compare somebody to the worst thing ever, you're dehumanizing. This is what happens to Marines before they go into places like Fallujah in the Iraqi war. They dehumanize the, quote, insurgents, the people that live there. So there's no empathy. There's no second guessing when you're just emptying your magazine from your gun, all your bullets, into just another human being. Well, it's a lesser than, so it's okay. This is what they're doing to Trump supporters. This is what they're doing to anyone who is not part of the cult. Not part of the cult. So let me go to Rumble real quick. We have people. We have Suzy Q saying, "Are they fleeing to Gitmo?" Interesting. Could be. We have the royals are supposedly in Australia. Thank you, Mr. Watman. Yes, Australia is rejecting putting Prince Charles on their new, I guess, currency coming out. Also, as we said, they rejected Pfizer in Western Australia and all its attributes. I'm even hearing that Kamala Harris's campaign has stopped all upcoming interviews, and they're expecting something to drop. So they stopped campaigning. I heard this rumor. I can't confirm it, but I've heard that Kamala Harris's campaign has stopped, campaigning. Interesting. Manny Lynn asked, what about Wiener's laptop? From what I recall in 2020, and the people we were talking to, Trump has the Wiener laptop. He never gave it to Bill Barr. By the way, notice how you've yet to hear from Jeff Sessions or anyone like just from that first administration. You've never heard from Jeff Sessions again. You've heard from Bill Barr nonstop, Elton Barr. You've heard from General Kelly, from Miley, and all these people. No one has ever heard from Jeff Sessions. So then maybe it is true. Maybe he is doing military tribunals, Jeff Sessions, as a judge or something of that effect over there in Guantanamo Bay that they keep building bigger and bigger and bigger. It's just something to think about. Anyways, yeah, here it is. Here it is. Look at that. Signs and symbols rule the world. Remember that. Because in words, verbal is only 90% of communication. Signs and symbols are everything. So that's just how they communicate. Somebody sent me this. They said, I've seen this a long time ago. Can't ever find it. It's all in plain sight. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. I'll be back tomorrow night. We're going to be doing a World at War Thursday edition, the way it should be done, because everything's changing. We're going to be doing a big Halloween special coming up, but also for Election Day, I'm going to be around the clock with all of you as much as I can possibly do, 24/7. Aaron Cates will be with us, Jim Fetzer. So plan on Election Day and the build up to it. We're going to have that meeting because we need to be hunkered down and prepared for everything and anything to happen in the days leading up to the election and after. I'm talking power outage. I'm talking civil unrest. We need to go over an items list. I'm going to have Micah Adams join us to make sure we're all prepared. So I'm going to talk to him about that for this effective audience. So, and we're going to have a big look into the underground with the return of 6 Underground. And I'm going to be looking into the underground tunnels that have led to Diddy over there in Florida, LA, and some of the things happening in London, which are some of the most decrepit underground tunnels we've yet to even reveal. Anyways, on that note, I'm going to get out of here. I want to thank all of you for your patience as we are trying to maintain a resolve during these very, very challenging times. And we owe it to you who keep us going through Real Deal Go and becoming members. You keep this broadcast going at Give, Send, Go, Real Deal Go. So I want to thank you for that. Until next time, I'm Dean Ryan. I need to always remember to stay tuned and stay awake. And I'll see you in the underground. Good night, everybody. Sitting sound, too strong a boat to sleep. Wear me out, scream and shout. I swear my time's never sweet. I think my life had gotten too much, too many broken things. Now enough, overground. Watch the success. I'm open, falling from grace. Take me down, 6 on the ground,